Everyone knows that values are important. Whenever we think we're trying to deliver values, trying to achieve values, and so on. But we treat values in a very vague and general sort of way. It's rather like if there's a flock of birds passing overhead, you say, well, yes, those are birds. But once you start to recognize the bird, you say, well, that's a swan, or that's a hawk, or that's an owl. Then you can pay more attention to them. So the 6 value medals are ways of paying direct attention to different values, making them much more concrete so we can look at them and we can compare how we see the values with how someone else sees the values. For instance, the gold medal might be the personal values. How do these values affect humans, people, as people? The silver medal, organizational values, which for a business might be profit, market share, brand image, and so on. Quality values, the steel medal, quality values. What is the quality of whatever we're doing? Then there's the innovation medal, the glass medal. What is new? What is a change here? What are the possibilities? Then we have the ecology medal, the wood medal. And how does what we're doing affect the surroundings? Not just nature, but the surroundings, any sort of surroundings. And then the brass medal, perceptual values, very key, often neglected. What we do, how is this going to be perceived? How is it going to be perceived by the world at large? How is it going to be perceived by our own workers? So we can now look at each of these values in turn, and we can actually give them a rating from +4 to -4, and there are very simple diagrammatic ways in which we can show how we assess the values and other people assess the values, and then compare and discuss the differences in our perception of values. So what the 6 value medals do is provide a tangible way of treating values in a very systematic way, rather than just say, oh yes, that's a value, or that's positive, and that's negative. But what are the values, the different sort of values? They're not all the same. You may have some action which may improve the organization values, but may harm the personal values. You may have some value which increases the corporation profits, but does damage to the environment. You may do something which is good, but perceived badly. In other words, you now have a way of looking at all the different values, keeping them in mind, focusing on them, asking other people to focus on the values. So the 6 value medals are a way of recognizing values, identifying values, being aware of values, being able to look at values directly. Separate values, 6 separate values, rather than just a general mess, amorphous mess of values where you say, yes, there's a value here, there's not a value here, but what sort of value? So 6 medals, 6 sorts of values. So now we can deal with values in a much more definite way.